standards that are called international standards on audit that are issued by the International Auditing and Assurance Standard Board. These standards are the most fundamental standards that regulate the audit profession on the ground. They are the standards, that are the rules, that how things should be done. Just like your accounting standards, there are also auditing standards. And we said that they are generally accepted auditing principles, just the same as they are generally accepted accounting standards. Then we went on to discuss the generally accepted auditing principles, which we discussed as these ones. Purpose of the audit, management responsibility, personal responsibilities of the auditor, auditor's actions in performing the audit performance, his responsibility and how he's supposed to do it and how he's supposed to report. These are the general accepted ways in which the auditor is expected to behave in his exercising the audit work. These are the generally accepted parameters in which the auditor is supposed to work in doing his daily work. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So we move on to say yes. We discussed the 5 or 6 generally accepted auditing standards. Now we are going to the next portion, and we are going to be saying, we'll come back to this one. We are going to be saying, over and above that, there is an expectation you are not giving an opinion, but you are just confirming. Okay, what's going on now? Oh, come on. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
thank
sir.
you.
Yes, sir.
It looked like I was losing you. Thanks a lot. If you are going to give an assurance to the general public, there's a general expectation that you must keep certain levels of quality standards within your audit as an audit, as a person who's going to give an assurance. And you are going to provide assurance services. Remember what we said assurance services are those services that you give people an opinion as to whether the information that you are giving is correct or not. That non-assurance services is where you just provide services and you're not giving an opinion. An attestation service is where you say, yes, I've checked that things are working according to this forecasts are okay. You are not giving the follow plan. But let's not go back to the assurance and attestation services. I take it you'll remember that. All we are saying is that an audit firm or an auditor, an audit firm is made up of more than one partner. An audit firm, for it to meet the minimum requirements of providing quality work, it must be made of more than one partner. So you are not going to have an audit firm that is made by one partner. It has to be made of more than one, because we want them to review each other's work to ensure that the others has met the standard. For an audit firm to give that assurance to third parties, it is expected to perform in a professional way. And to perform in a professional way, you are expected to have some quality, some audit quality standards or protocols that you have to implement in an audit firm, in an audit practice, or in an audit performance. So if you are one, you are called an auditor. An auditor can be perform an assignment, but that auditor, when he's performing an assignment, for him to express an opinion, his audit work must have been reviewed by another partner to check whether that person has met all the international standards on quality and on quality. So an quality framework is fundamental to any audit exercise. A quality protocol is fundamental to any audit exercise by an audit firm. So at a minimum, an audit firm must have a quality protocol that has the following elements. One, the quality protocol must have procedures and processes on how leadership must behave in an audit firm. The audit protocol in an audit firm that we expect to give some assurance work or some attestation work must have some processes and protocols on how compliance with ethical requirements is managed within the audit firm. The audit firm that is giving assurances must have some protocol or procedures on how a client is accepted and how clients are reviewed before they are accepted, and how a new audit is undertaken after an audit is for 12 months. When you are renewing an audit, what are the processes? We must have detailed written protocols on what do you do when you are accepting a new client. What do you do when you are continuing with a client? So that we have standardized the way of doing things. That's where we can control quality. An audit firm that is to give assurance and attestation must have protocols on how they recruit staff and how they train them. An audit firm, they must have protocols and procedures on how performance during an audit work, how people must behave during an engagement performed during an audit exercise or during a project. An audit firm must have protocols on how everything is monitored to ensure that quality is maintained within an audit process. These are the elements of what, when we go into an audit firm, we want to look for these 6 elements, these 6 protocols or procedures or work processes that have been documented to show how each of these elements are responded to by the audit firm. If you have responded to this process and you are following a processes on the tone of the top leadership, you have a process on compliance and ethical, how you maintain compliance and ethical. As an audit firm, you have a process on how you recruit a new clients, what are the processes, and how you review clients before you take them. You have processes on how you train them, maintain skills and competence. You have processes how you monitor during the audit process. You have processes on how you monitor the whole quality thing during the audit. Then this is called a quality control system of an audit firm. Are you there? Are you
Yes,
there?
sir.
Yes, sir.
So when we go into your firm, as you shall be having firms after this, we are going to establish whether you have a quality control system. That means you have procedures on the following things that we are going to discuss individually. Let's move on. Let's go through all the 6 elements of a quality control system in an audit firm. Leadership, point number 1, tone at the top, the taste. We must get a feel when we go into the organization that there is a deliberate culture, including deliberately formulated guidelines and process that enforces some culture of quality, championship, quality production within the organization. We must inculcate a culture within the workforce that gives an assurance that the engagement, after the engagement, we are fairly confident because of our high standard of accuracy and compliance that the firm will give an opinion on financial statements that are accurate. And we need to, when we go into an organization, we need to find protocols and procedures that encourage staff to produce quality. And this protocol and procedures may be in the form of, and most likely in the form of, training and training and training on on the accountancy profession, so that our staff are put in a position where they are knowledgeable about all the standards in the accounts. They know how to account for fixed assets, for rent, for everything, such that they are able to pick in the slightest of a mistake. They are able to pick that the client has made an error or a misstatement as quickly as, because they are the skills that they got through training and workshop. The culture of quality will be demonstrated by the amount of resources that we put in modernizing, in ensuring that staff are up to date with all the best practices in financial reporting. We shall also ensure that we calculate a culture of multiple reviews, where someone, after collecting evidence about a certain portion of the audit process, we have another set of eyes, 2 or 3 set of eyes checking each other, without saying one person must go through the whole audit project and we are going to rely on the evidence that has been collected by that person from one audit process. We need to have a culture of reviews. A junior person does, the second highest person that checks, the third highest person checks, and the fourth highest person checks that. This multiple reviews will reduce the risk of not picking material misstatement on infringement on standards by the people who are preparing the financial statements. So when we go into an audit firm to establish whether they have a quality control system, we must find a leadership that encourages a culture of quality. And how do we find that? By ensuring that people are competent in best practices in financial reporting. I think I told you that it's almost law now that financial statements, you need to produce an annual report, which is called an integrated, plus a sustainability report. These are new things in a quality organization. We will find that already they have started training their auditors on how a sustainability report should look. Then auditors are not going to prepare it, but they must verify that it has been correct, because they are going to give an opinion on the financial statements. And those reports are part of the financial statements. Auditors must give an assurance of that. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
We will check if the leadership has put in place a culture where performance is evaluated and people who are performing are being compensated. If you go into a firm that pays people 10% salary adjustment every month, every year, and irrespective of how you performed, that does not encourage a culture of performance and quality. If Lindy is here and Neo is here, it shouldn't, unless it's coincidental. It shouldn't be possible that Lindy is going to be given a 20 puller increase that's the same as Neo. If Lindy is lazy and we have found more errors on her method of collecting evidence, she must be compensated less than the other lady who has a perfect story. And this culture of separating of not rewarding mediocrity is the culture that we want in a high knowledge industry like auditing. You are supervising people who are far above average. Most auditors are generally the accounting profession is a difficult profession. So on average, an average person cannot pass accounting. On average, an average person, So people who become CAs at the end are IQ people, high IQ people with IQ. Actually, in the past, during our times, when we did our first degrees, the single major in accounting, which would later convert into people doing ACCA, CMAS, and was recruited from BSc. It was not general. It was so BSc students. Accounting was taking BSc students. Most of these chartered accountants that you see all over, who are senior in government and private sector, actually were dropouts of the BSc program. When calculus was becoming rough, we dropped out and went to do a single major in accounting. They were very strict about that. So you see that the top-notch accounting maths people, and because it really gets tricky up there. So and the pass rate was even better for ACCA when we were recruiting BSc students to do accounting, and then they become chartered accountants. I once attempted to say that, and a lot of people were not happy with my suggestion. Anyway, that is the culture of quality. So we must find and these are the guy and the process. We must find evidence that there is a culture of quality. That when you are recruited, you are going to be trained on standards. You are going to be what. You are going to be workshopped on the latest on accounting standards, tax laws, breaks in financial reporting. You are going to be workshopped. You are going to have. We have a peer reviews, multiple review systems within the organization, all in the name of encouraging quality. We shall, or we should, find guidance and processes within the audit firm that encourages, that demands that staff must be ethical, must be independent of the client. So we don't want we don't want you to go to a client where you know your wife works there and you try to be an auditor and your wife, and there's already conflict there, or your brother is the whatever, there's already conflict there, or your concubine is that, or there's a conflict, or there's already conflict there. There should be independence. You must be viewed as independent, both in appearance and in fact. When we say in appearance, you must look independent. In effect, you must actually prove that you are independent in your doings. If I audit a firm where my daughter works at and is the chief CEO, or is one of the influential persons there, I may be in fact independent, but I do not appear independent, because people will always be in doubt that I have not done a good job, because my appearance, the fact that my daughter works there, would be such that I appear we're saying the accountant or the firm must be independent, both in appearance and in fact. So we must, to the lot, every partner and staff member must tell us where we must do an independent survey. Tell us where their girlfriends, boyfriends, people who can compromise their independence are. So we do that, we have them to get them to fill an independent survey every year to show us where they are participating in directorship, in boards, in what, anything that can affect their independence. So compliance and ethical requirements is paramount. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So we want to know who your relatives are. If we are compromised, you must tell us. We must find the processes and procedures that have been put in place to compel partners and staff members of the audit firm to be independent, to safeguard this secret notion of independence. We must find within the audit firm, in their quality control system, policies, guidelines on processes on their acceptance when there's a new client and engagement, what processes do we follow? And we must find policy guidelines on what reviews should we make every year when we are continuing with an old client. If we, for instance, we want to safeguard the audit firm or the firm will be made for more than one partner. We want to say from clients that lacks integrity. And the integrity, if the firm is headed by someone without integrity, then we don't want to be auditing someone who at night can move stock from Pilan. He knows you are taking stock in Gaborone and tomorrow you are taking it in Pilan. You finish audit taking stock at 12 in the night, you go to sleep, you want to start stock counting plan in the morning. They load the stock here and we're using trucks, and tomorrow morning you are counting the same stock again in Pilan. These are issues of integrity. And we must also commit to tasks that you must only take audits that you have the experience and the professional expertise to audit that client. If you are not familiar with valuation of how much resource is in a mine, how much is left inside a mine, you must keep clear of such audits and give to those who can or subcontract those valuations from credible people who can tell us, yes, the Letakane mine still has another 20 years to go, and you include that in your reports to say there's a reserve, that's the value, there's a reserve underground that is according to the standards. And as a professional accountant, you may not be competent in that, but you must have relations or competent skills within your practice that is able to do that well, so that you are able to express an opinion. So we must know why the person wants to be audited. That is important. Or someone comes to you as a client and say, I want to be audited. And you say, who? Why do you want to be audited? No, I want to be audited because I want to go and get a loan. If you are audited, you want to be audited because you want to go and get a loan. Already prima facie, professional skepticism is that the accounts are inflated in a manner that will make it possible for you to get a loan. Remember, the auditor is not the one preparing the accounts. Just by default, there's a high risk that the sales are inflated, liabilities have been lowered, and I can tell you 9 out of 10 times I'm going to be struggling with justifying the sales figure and trying to look for liabilities that have been omitted and assets that have been inflated because he wants to go and get a loan. The reasons, that's why. You must know the risk profile of the client and the likelihood that that client would have falsified their accounts. You must speak to the client. You must know your client's top management and see if they are credible people for starters. If they are not credible, it's best if you decide not to take the engagement. And if you think they are not credible, their integrity is compromised, they are probably over and above selling is a butchery person and is busy stealing, is a cattle rustler again, and you think that there's a risk of them there's a high risk that they could be stealing some of the cows to come and slaughter in that. You don't want to qualify statements that financial statement and you put stock of livestock that they hold in their crawls as stock that and you because there are people of no integrity, you find that the stock is stolen or something, business ethics and all sorts of things. Or you don't want to deal with someone who is stealing customer money, is a baker who is supposed to have this number of, how many slices are there in a bread, or he decides to shorten the number of slices in a loaf of bread. How many slices are supposed to be there in a loaf of bread? I know you literally survive out of loaves of bread. Do you know?
20 slices.
Yes, if you decide you are going to be having a loaf that is a bit shorter, that does 15 slices, those are business ethics. Toilet paper also, there is a minimum length that is allowed. You may decide to shorten your toilet paper. I'm giving the examples of how ethical your customer could be. And if you are going to be dealing with a person who, after the clean audit, you find that his toilet paper is shorter than the allowed length, that can have a bearing on the integrity, on the reputation of the audit firm, because you have given an assurance, you would have put your head on the block that you have a reasonable, you have a reasonable assurance that you have done everything possible, and you think this person has a great reputation, and his ethics, his business ethics are up to par, and that third parties can rely on his financial statement. It's like you give an assurance to someone, and only to discover that to your best friend, and your best friend, you say, no, you trust this guy. You bring a friend to your room, a friend to your room, you say, okay, friend, let's visit my other friend. And you are bringing a new friend, and you tell your old friend that you must trust your new friend. Then the new friend, after giving that an assurances that he has integrity, then he starts stealing the phones. What happens to your attestation? You get embarrassed, isn't it? That you have,
Yes, sir.
that you have wasted your integrity, and he's ruined your reputation, isn't it? And he starts stealing from all your friends. This new friend, who you have said they must relax with him with their wallets when he's around, he starts stealing all the phones and the wallets, and that's the same story. And you had given an assurance that he's dependable. When he's not dependable, it embarrasses you. Next time you want for an audit engagement, actually then you get sued from telling people they must relax when this guy is around, only for them to have lost their wallets and phones. That's visualized an audit process as like that, and the auditor comes in to give an assurance that they must relax when they are using the financial statements of this company, only to be disappointed because they did not do enough work. First, you must check the integrity of the person dealing. If your new friend, you know that is capable of stealing, you must not bring them to people who are relaxed about their cell phones. So we must have rules about acceptance and continuation. If the continuing client, we feel that their reputation during the period was marred in controversy, we may decide not to continue with the with this client, because it may affect our integrity our reputation in terms of giving assurances to other people. Remember, auditors get paid for giving an opinion. If it gets found out that you can give an opinion on people without integrity, that will compromise your credibility as an audit firm and also an auditor at the end. Next, a good quality control system must have policies and protocols in place that processes proper, that is able to recruit the proper people. You must have policy in place that is able to sieve the useless accountants that are graduating and get proper people who will be able to be trainable and get the necessary skills and abilities and the culture into place. You must have a human resource policies in place, that you must have a system that protects the firm from recruiting people that cannot be good auditors. And that should be a systems of policies and processes. How you recruit people, how you train and later deal with them. And every person must undergo an assessment. First, the assessment is getting insight. Second, whether that assessment should check whether they're competent enough to undertake an audit function. And you must have those evaluation reports in place within the firm that will check the competency and the skill of the people that you have recruited. A quality control system of an audit firm must have those policies and protocols that guarantees that only good employees will be recruited in the firm who are properly trainable and have the right motivation and take the pay, and they can take the pay. And those people, and that should be reinforced by proper evaluation and monitoring and promotion and reward of employees, and not have a lazy style of giving people 10% across the board. In an audit firm of 15 people, you give them 10% across the board. That's as soon as you start saying that, that means you don't have a system of monitoring whether A is better than C or is better than D or is better than D. I must see you have given 10% to another one, 15% to another one, 25% to another, 3% to another, so that you are able to compensate according to how people apply themselves within an audit firm. You must have processes and protocols that ensure that an engagement or an audit project is done in accordance with the required regulations and professional norms. You must have a process that says, yes, once you are on site, this is what you are supposed to do to ensure that this whole audit engagement is in accordance with professional norms and any legal requirements that mean. And you can only do that by making sure that those staff members that you recruited above and with that protocol of human resources are allocated to appropriate tasks. And anything that they find is addressed internally or externally by an appropriate person. And reports are produced and properly consulted with whoever, and appropriate decisions are taken during the engagement on anything that is found during the engagement. And it is during the engagement that we are collecting evidence that we are going to use to express an opinion with. Throughout the whole process of audit or quality control, we need procedures on how to monitor that the procedures that we've put in place are being implemented, or they are being reviewed, and there's a feedback mechanism that our quality control process is working or is not working. We need to have a monitoring process that leadership is working, engagement of new clients and continuing clients is working, whatever those elements of a quality product. We need to have a system that monitors that our quality control system is sufficient and is functioning. And that is normally done on an annual basis by a partner who is responsible for quality. That all the other elements that we spoke to are working. Quality as a control system within a firm involves a lot of things. Quality control involves a lot of things. Among other things, not only does it involve those elements that we spoke to above there, quality is also addressed under CPA, Chartered Accounting Examinations, where for you to have an audit quality, you need to be getting proper people that are passing CA exams. Quality also, there are elements within the auditing standards that deal with quality control. The quality also is addressed through continuous educational development of people working in the office. Quality is also controlled through the professional conduct of auditors. Quality is also controlled through peer reviews and other models of quality control. So the 6 elements that I shall be engaging you on in the exam are those elements that are expected to be found in the audit firm. But these other things in their own right are also responsible for quality control. Yes, I take it, let's stop here. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
It's a mouthful. 6 elements of quality control system that you need to know. You have those 5 elements up there. Now we are going to be coming to ethical behavior of accountants, and as you know, I'm going to be discussing the fundamental principles of ethics of a professional accountant, and then we run through them. Okay, there are about 5 of them again that we are dealing with: quality as in terms of the firm, quality and integrity as in terms of the individual of an accountant. We'll deal with this next time we meet. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Let me confirm, we said tentatively we are setting test 1 for the 27th of September, isn't it?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay. I will start the process of making appropriate bookings. Thank you very much. Those who, I take it, I've responded to all those who needed to be connected. If you still have not been connected on Teams, you can talk to me either on in whatever platform you want to talk to me on. Then we can take the pieces from there. When we come back, we'll discuss these fundamentals. Then we'll discuss how the company, how the auditor, the framework within the Companies Act, what does the Companies Act say about the role of an auditor? And then we'll discuss what does the Accountants Act say about the accountant and auditor. I think we would have done justice to that portion. You will notice that I'm going a little bit of detail on this one. This is probably, with my knowledge of professional exams, the lucky thing about a first degree is that I'm giving you a lot of depth in these things that you may not get this amount of depth in a professional exam. All these things that I'm teaching you, when you go to ACC and BICA, you have to go through them again. Perhaps from a different angle. Yeah. So I'm not those who are becoming professional accountants will find these things. So if you understand them here, you are still going to be talking about them at different levels of ACC and BICA and CIMA. So and I took a deliberate effort to be more thorough about the Companies Act by referring you to sections. Perhaps that's the last time you will be dealing with an auditor and accountant in Botswana law, because most of these foreign qualifications, even BICA, they don't give reference to the Companies Act of Botswana. But I'll give you a feel of the certain sections and what they discuss about the auditor. So when you go into an auditing, the framework we need an auditor works, is the auditor is going to be governed by an international standards on auditing, international standard on quality control. The auditor is going to be governed by this code of ethics of an accountant, rather than the risk associated. The auditor is also covered the laws, the regulations, and the procedures that control the work of an auditor, the framework that controls the work of the auditor is also the Companies Act of Botswana. And then I'll give you a feel of what does the Act say about the preparation of the financial statements. It's law. It's not a suggestion, that it's law, and we can go to the Companies Act and say section this and this says management must prepare financial statements within a certain period, and 1, 2, 3, 4. It's law. You go to jail for not preparing financial statements. I'll make reference to that and tell you that it's also law that I'll give you reference to that, just to strengthen your knowledge. Remember, I can choose to be light on this material, but unfortunately with accounting, it's a standardized program. What I'm teaching you is being taught in India, is being taught in Uganda, is being taught in South Africa, is being taught in England, is taught in the Americas. So if I make it weak, you won't pass professional exams, whether it be finance-related professional exams or accounting-related professional exams. I try by all means to maintain the standard so that you are able to pass professional. Because I also teach professional exams. I want you to pass. Ish. Don't disappoint me, ladies, and I really worry about you. Anyway, let's call it a day. Good night.
Hey.
Ma.
Hey. I remember you will send us questions.
Yes, I will. I want to send you multiple choice questions for the first section, the second section. I will. And I want to attempt to, if I can, to evaluate, to assess you based on a computer-based program. What's your feel about that?
Let's do it, sir.
Because that's how you are going to be writing a computer-based assessment. That's how you are going to be writing the exams going forward in the new world. You are not going to be writing with your hand. You'll be doing it in the computer. No, all professional accounting exams are done in the computer. No invigilators out with papers, isn't it? You know that, don't you? So you better start doing it. We can try first test and see, but you must learn it. Like you must learn it. If you don't learn it, I'm just delaying a pain that you are going to take at some point. Whether you are doing finance is all tested online. Accounting is tested is assessed online. So let's agree to start assessing each other online when necessary. And learn them now and take the pain when your brain is still fresh. One more day you delay, the less capable you are. You know, as you get older, the less capable you become. Your IQ diminishes until you reach my age. You just use experience, but the IQ is a bit low. Sure. Bye-bye.
Bye, sir.
Bye, sir.
Sure.
Bye, sir.
Thank you. Bye-bye.